Imagine standing at a crossroads where one path leads back to your bloodline, your heritage, and a kingdom, while the other leads toward a marriage that the world, and perhaps even your own family, is beginning to question. This is the exact position Prince Harry allegedly found himself in during his most recent tension-filled visit to the United Kingdom. Reports from deep within the palace walls suggest that King Charles hasn't merely made a suggestion, he has issued a final ultimatum. The King's message was clear: a return to the royal fold is possible, but it comes with a condition that would change Harry's life forever. It's a move that has reportedly sent the Duke of Sussex into a tailspin, especially as new, darker whispers about Meghan Markle's past begin to surface. These aren't the usual tabloid rumors we've grown accustomed to over the years. We're talking about a dossier of information so sensitive that it could potentially dismantle the Duchess's carefully crafted public image. At the center of this storm is a name that was supposed to remain buried in the archives of a Chicago suburb decades ago: Joe Giuliano. For years, the public has been told a carefully curated version of Meghan Markle's life before the cameras. We know about her success on Suits, her first marriage to Trevor Engelson, and her humanitarian work. But what if there was a chapter so foundational, so deeply hidden, that its exposure could redefine everything we think we know about the Duchess? This isn't just a story about a former husband. It's a story about a secret pact, a vanishing family, and a child who may have been the ultimate price of an ambitious climb to the top. As Prince Harry struggles with mounting debt reportedly exceeding $20 million and faces cooling interest from streaming giants like Netflix, he is now said to be confronting the most shocking revelation of all. An informant close to the situation claims Harry was recently presented with an interview from a man connected to the Giuliano family. An interview that outlines a timeline that doesn't just contradict Meghan Markle's past, but completely rewrites it. Before the red carpets and royal protocols, there was a young woman at Northwestern University with a drive few could match. It was here, in the mid-1990s, that Meghan Markle reportedly crossed paths with Joe Giuliano. To understand why this connection is so explosive, you have to understand the Giuliano family. They weren't Hollywood types. They were pillars of the community, an Italian-American family in Chicago. Their world was built on onesta, honesty, and the sacred bond of La Familia. Joseph Giuliano Sr. ran a successful construction supply company built on handshakes and loyalty, while his wife, Anna, served as the moral compass of the household. In their neighborhood, Sunday dinners weren't just meals, they were rituals. Everything was shared, and nothing was hidden. That was until a charismatic young woman from California entered their orbit. Meghan Markle was unlike anyone the Giulianos had ever met. She was a whirlwind of ambition, constantly talking about headshots, auditions, and her desire to leave a permanent mark on the world. At first, the family was enchanted. Joe was the steady, reliable son, and Meghan was the spark that seemed to illuminate his life. But as the months turned into years, that initial glow began to fade. Neighbors from that era recall a shift in the atmosphere. They describe Meghan Markle as someone who always seemed to be performing, even when the cameras weren't rolling. One family acquaintance noted that her stories often felt too perfect, with beginnings, middles, and endings that sounded scripted. You could spend hours talking to her and still walk away feeling like you didn't truly know the person behind the smile. This was the first crack in the mirror, but it was far from the last. As the relationship between Joe and Meghan Markle intensified, so did the scrutiny from the Giuliano matriarch, Anna. Guided by a strong intuition that had long protected her family, she began noticing small but persistent inconsistencies in Meghan's narrative. The timelines of her early years didn't always align with the details she shared. Rumors have circulated for years suggesting that Meghan Markle may have been born earlier than her officially stated birth year of 1981. It was within the Giuliano household that these suspicions reportedly first took root. For a family that valued transparency above all else, these discrepancies felt like a serious breach of trust. They began to wonder, if she was willing to adjust the truth about something as simple as her age, what else might she be hiding? Despite these concerns, Joe remained deeply in love. In what many describe as an impulsive decision fueled by youthful passion, the two reportedly traveled to Las Vegas. This was nothing like the grand, globally televised wedding later held at St. George's Chapel. According to these claims, it was a quiet, almost clandestine ceremony in a small Vegas chapel. No formal announcements. No shared photos. No involvement from the extended family in Chicago. It was a commitment meant to stay hidden. A secret marriage that would allow Meghan Markle to maintain the image of an unattached, rising star. But returning to Chicago as a married couple did not bring the peace Joe had hoped for. Instead, it exposed the growing divide between their two worlds. Joe longed for stability, roots, and the comfort of his community. Meghan Markle, however, wanted wings. Her focus had already shifted toward Los Angeles, and she was spending increasing amounts of time in California pursuing auditions and opportunities, moving steadily toward the life she believed she was destined for. While Sunday dinners in Chicago went unattended, the tension eventually reached a breaking point during a dinner that has since become legendary among those who follow the Giuliano narrative. Joseph Sr. reportedly made a direct and heartfelt appeal to Meghan Markle, telling her that a marriage isn't built on camera flashes and red carpets, but on the quiet moments when no one is watching. But Meghan Markle's worldview had already expanded beyond those boundaries. She didn't want the quiet life of a Chicago suburb. The Giuliano family began to see her not just as a daughter-in-law, but as a potential threat to their son's happiness and the unity of their family. They believed her ambition was a powerful force, one that might eventually require her to cut ties with anything that didn't align with the future she envisioned. And this is where the most controversial and explosive part of the story begins: the alleged birth of a child. According to various informants and investigative claims, the ultimate catalyst for the collapse of the marriage was the revelation of a pregnancy. In the summer of 1995, a baby girl named Lucia was reportedly born. However, instead of becoming a moment of public celebration, Lucia's arrival was allegedly met with a pact of silence. The theory suggests that the Giuliano family, determined to protect their privacy and their son's future, made a cold and pragmatic decision. They wanted the marriage erased, not just ended, but removed from legal existence. This is why the concept of an annulment is so central to this narrative. Unlike a divorce, an annulment treats a marriage as though it never existed. Records were allegedly sealed, and a deal was struck. Meghan Markle would be free to pursue her Hollywood ambitions without a past that could complicate her rise. But the price, according to these claims, was Lucia. The child would be raised by the Giuliano family, far from public view. If this sounds like the plot of a high-stakes drama, that's because what followed was even more surreal. For a few years, a fragile new normal settled over the Giuliano household. Neighbors recalled seeing a young girl with curious eyes at family gatherings. But when asked who she was, the answers were always vague: a niece, a distant relative, a friend's daughter. Yet the burden of the secret grew heavier with time. The family reportedly lived in constant fear that the truth would surface, especially as Meghan Markle began gaining recognition in the acting world. Then, in the late 1990s, something extraordinary happened. The Giulianos didn't just relocate, they vanished. On a quiet weekday morning, moving trucks arrived at their residence before sunrise. By noon, the house was empty. They left behind furniture, gardening tools, and the remnants of a life they had spent decades building. There were no goodbyes to neighbors. No forwarding address left behind. It was as if their entire presence in Chicago had been erased overnight. For years, there was only silence. But gradually, faint traces began to emerge across the Atlantic. A bank account in Milan, a modest property deed in a remote coastal town in Calabria, Italy. The names on the documents were altered: Yeppy and Anna Lucia. It appeared they had fled to a place where secrets are guarded as fiercely as family traditions. In the sun-drenched, isolated towns of southern Italy, the Giulianos reportedly became the quiet Americans. They conducted their affairs in cash, avoided photographs, and kept to themselves. Joseph remained a reserved and distant figure, while Anna preserved her old-world values and demeanor. And with them was Lucia, a shy young girl, educated at home and rarely seen in public, living a life far removed from the world that had once threatened to expose everything. It seemed the pact of silence was holding. But as Meghan Markle's fame grew, first through Deal or No Deal, and then with her breakout role in Suits, the risk of exposure intensified. When she began her relationship with Prince Harry, the world's most powerful investigative forces turned their attention toward her past. The firm, the British royal family's internal security and public relations apparatus, reportedly initiated its own deep investigation. This brings us back to the recent, shocking revelations that have allegedly reached Prince Harry. In 2024, an investigative journalist named Aaron Vale reportedly began connecting the dots between the Giuliano family's disappearance and Meghan Markle's early years. He is said to have uncovered immigration records with conflicting dates, along with a 2015 photograph that has since become a focal point for theorists. The image, captured in an Italian street market just 1 year before Meghan Markle met Prince Harry, shows an older woman in a headscarf alongside a young woman in her 20s. Observers claim the resemblance between the younger woman and Meghan Markle is striking. The same eyes, the same distinctive smile. This has led to speculation. Could this be Lucia, the child reportedly born in 1995? According to the theory, when members of the royal household became aware of this narrative, they acted swiftly. Reports surfaced of a senior royal aide making a discreet trip to Italy just months before the royal wedding in 2018. Around the same time, a British tabloid was preparing to publish a story about the Giuliano connection, only for the article to be abruptly withdrawn within hours. From the perspective of those who follow these claims, such events are not coincidences. They are seen as signs of a deliberate effort to shield the monarchy from a potentially explosive scandal. An undisclosed prior marriage and the existence of a child would not merely generate headlines. It could pose a serious challenge to the institution that Prince Harry represents. Now, Prince Harry reportedly finds himself in a position where these whispers can no longer be ignored. According to the informant, during his most recent visit to London, he was presented with evidence suggesting that King Charles has reviewed the full extent of the Giuliano dossier. The King's alleged ultimatum, that Harry's return to the United Kingdom depends on a legal separation, is said to be a measure aimed at protecting the crown from the potential fallout should this story ever emerge publicly. For Prince Harry, the shock may go far beyond questions about his wife's past. It raises a deeper concern, whether the last 8 years of his life have been built on a foundation shaped by carefully managed and possibly hidden truths. Meanwhile, mounting financial pressure on the Duke and Duchess is only adding fuel to an already volatile situation. With their Spotify deal long gone and their Netflix contract reportedly nearing its end, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are no longer the untouchable powerhouse they once appeared to be. As their influence wanes, the long-standing silence surrounding the Giuliano story may be beginning to crack. If a financial settlement was part of the original agreement, what happens when that support runs out? What if Lucia, now believed to be in her late 20s, no longer wishes to remain a hidden figure in a quiet coastal town in Italy? This narrative of Joe Giuliano and the disappearance of a Chicago family reads like a modern parable about the cost of ambition. It challenges the fairy tale once presented to the world and replaces it with a far more complex and unsettling account, one in which difficult choices may have shaped a path to global prominence. To be clear, there is no publicly verified evidence that would stand in a court of law. Yet the mystery persists because the pieces seem to align with eerie precision. The abandoned home in Chicago, the sudden relocation to Italy, the withdrawn articles, and the alleged royal intervention. Together, they suggest a reality far more intricate than a straightforward Hollywood success story. As we examine the current state of the royal family, with Prince Harry reportedly feeling increasingly isolated and conflicted, it raises a compelling question. Is the shadow of Joe Giuliano finally catching up with him? The Duke of Sussex has long positioned himself as someone who values truth. Yet he may now be confronting the uncomfortable reality that truth is often buried beneath layers of legal annulments and sealed records. If the reports are accurate and Prince Harry has indeed seen the Giuliano interview, then his shifting perspective becomes easier to understand. Realizing that the person he sacrificed everything for may have left part of her past behind decades ago is not a light burden to carry. Public fascination with Meghan Markle is not fading, but it is evolving. It is no longer centered solely on her public image, fashion, or media ventures. Instead, attention is turning toward the unanswered questions and undisclosed narratives that may define her story. Was she a woman constrained by a traditional environment that couldn't contain her ambition? Or was she a calculated strategist who understood exactly what needed to be left behind to reach the pinnacle of success? For nearly 30 years, the Giuliano family has reportedly maintained silence, honoring a pact that allowed them to live in peace. But in the digital age, where investigations are relentless and information travels instantly, no secret remains buried forever. Ultimately, the story serves as a reminder that beneath the polished surface of royalty, there are often hidden chapters, stories reshaped or concealed to fit a particular image. Whether Lucia is a real individual living quietly by the Ionian Sea or simply a figure born from speculation, the impact of the narrative is undeniable. It has already created tension within the House of Windsor that may never fully heal. King Charles's alleged final move may not be purely strategic. It may also be deeply personal. A father attempting to guide his son away from a situation that could spiral further out of control before the full truth emerges. As Prince Harry faces the future, the shadows of Chicago and the echoes of Calabria loom large. He stands at a crossroads, torn between silence and revelation, loyalty and truth. The decision he makes now could shape not only his place within the monarchy, but also his legacy as a man willing, or unwilling, to confront uncomfortable realities. The Giuliano enigma remains one of the most mysterious and controversial narratives tied to modern royalty, a puzzle that continues to intrigue those who believe there is always more beneath the surface. As the sun sets over palace walls, one question lingers. How long can a secret of this magnitude remain hidden? With investigative figures like Aaron Vale reportedly closing in and financial pressures mounting around the Sussexes, the long-standing silence may be approaching its breaking point. If the full story of Joe Giuliano and the alleged child in Italy were ever to be confirmed, it would not only reshape the narrative around Meghan Markle, it could alter perceptions of the British monarchy itself. For now, we are left with whispers, blurred images, and fragments of a story that refuses to disappear. The life of Meghan Markle has unfolded in carefully constructed chapters, each more prominent than the last. But every story has a beginning, and hers may be far more complex than anyone initially believed. As the world waits for what may come next, attention remains fixed on a single possibility: that this long-hidden chapter could one day come fully into the light. Because the past is never truly gone. It lingers, waiting for the moment it can return and challenge everything built upon it. And for the royal family, that past is now symbolized by the image of a young woman in an Italian market, holding a story that could shake everything. Prince Harry's unease may no longer be just about royal tensions. It may stem from the realization that the life he fought for could be built on a narrative far more complicated than it seemed. Now, he must decide: live with the shadows of the past, or demand the truth, no matter how painful it may be. The reality is, we may never know exactly what happened in that Las Vegas chapel or within the walls of a Chicago home. But as long as questions remain, the story will continue to live on. Thank you for following this complex and controversial narrative. The story of Meghan Markle and the Giuliano family highlights the power of hidden histories and the lengths people may go to protect them. Now the question is yours. Is this a hidden truth waiting to be uncovered, or simply another theory born from speculation? Let your thoughts be heard. The story isn't over yet.